Welcome back now to Foreign Policy. The House Select Committee on China sending a letter to the Federal Communications Commission urging the agency to take measures to keep Chinese-made cellular modules designed to connect smart devices to the internet out of the U.S. due to espionage concerns. Newsweek is reporting, quote, data from the cellular modules represents a potential gold mine for Chinese intelligence, which could analyze information collected from millions of connected devices for insights into what is happening in the United States at times of national crisis or at any other time. The modules are also certified for use in FirstNet, which is the U.S.'s first responder emergency network. Joining us right now is Stevens Incorporated Executive Vice President, Senior Policy Advisor, and former Senior Advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Mary Kissel back with us. Mary, great to see you. Thanks very much. I know you're probably
great to be with you,
not
Maria.
surprised at this story. What's your take on the level of surveillance underway with regard to China's access to these cellular modules?
Well, first of all, Maria, you have to say it is amazing that we're even having this conversation.
Yeah.
Think about where we were 5 years ago. This is a bipartisan concern, and so it's terrific that the China Commission on Capitol Hill is writing to the FCC and raising this concern. It's the logical next thing to look at after we had the Huawei conversation several years ago. That being said, what we really need to focus in on here, Maria, is critical infrastructure. Do we care if the Chinese can get a hold of your smart refrigerator, or do we care that they have access to FirstNet and our first responder network? Obviously, we have to prioritize what we pay attention to. Our government has limited resources, and so we really need to prioritize when we're thinking about this kind of threat of where we're going to train attention. And that bleeds into corporate America, right? We have clients asking us all the time, all right, we're starting to see restrictions on things like semiconductors. Hey, Mary, what's next? And so you have to think logically if government's going to prioritize, again, those things that are most important for our national security. So semiconductors, quantum computing, AI, first responder net, critical infrastructure in the United States. These are the things that I think are going to be on the political agenda.
Yeah, it's a great point that you make. And the president recently came out with an executive order to limit investment by Americans into some critical areas like AI and quantum computing. But most people I've spoken with say that this executive order doesn't have teeth. First of all, it's not taking effect for a whole year. And secondly, there's a whole public markets part of this that has been totally left out. You still have an opportunity to buy all these companies that are tied to the Chinese military in a whole host of ETFs, in the thrift fund, which we've spoken about so many times, the 401k for government employees, Mary.
Yeah, and Maria, for that, you can thank something else that you talk about all the time, which is the bulge bracket banks, the Wall Street banks, and the Treasury Department, which is populated by people from the Wall Street banks. Janet Yellen might not come from Goldman Sachs like, our last several Treasury secretaries, Republican and Democrat. But, she had a lot of speaking fees from the likes of Citadel and others. So I see her in exactly the same light. So why did that order look like Swiss cheese? Why were there all these carve-outs? It's because these banks want to continue making money when they can from communist China. We don't do that. We're a private institution. But as long as Treasury is dominated by, the Goldmans, the JP Morgans, and the Morgan Stanleys of the world, this is what you're going to see. And I've got to say, Maria, it's a shame because there are people, even in Biden's National Security Council, who are really hawkish, who worked to put AUKUS together, this upcoming really amazing Japan-South Korea discussion that's going to happen at Camp David. I mean, these are important steps forward, but what we really need is the president to say, hey, Treasury Department, no more handouts for Wall Street. We've got to get serious, not just for the next election, but on behalf of all Americans, because national security is not a partisan issue.
Well, I mean, especially since the CCP has been so blatant in terms of undermining the United States. Now China's Commerce Ministry is saying that it is assessing the impact of Biden's executive order on limitations to U.S. tech investments, saying that it will take, quote, necessary countermeasures. The Biden administration is readying new tariffs, we're told, on can-making metal, which is imported from China, Germany, and Canada. This will be the highest tariffs, with a levy of over 122% of their import value. But Mary, here too, I don't know if I'm buying this because, we talked about this executive order that he sat on for so long. How long are we going to sit on this idea of tariffs? I know initially you were not a fan of tariffs, but then you got in working with Secretary Pompeo, and I think you changed your thinking a little. What are your thoughts on tariffs? Because the Trump administration put lots of tariffs in place and cost China, what, hundreds of billions of dollars?
Yeah, well, I think what I realized is that you need a big stick. And for the Trump administration, tariffs were the big stick. The problem with tariffs is just a problem that we have always had and will always have, Maria, is that there are trade-offs. So if you decide to help the U.S. steel industry, which is a very important industry, take this canned goods thing that you just mentioned, it means that consumers across America are going to have to pay more for their canned goods. And we have an inflation problem, okay? So that's a trade-off that someone who is elected into public office is being elected to make, right? It's not free. It's never been free. It never will be free. I think if you step back from it, though, the bigger question is a tougher question, which is it's not just about punishing China and erecting barriers. It's about building alliances and strengthening the American economy and our innovators to win. And I hate to say competition because it's not a competition, right? It's not a fair and level playing field. That's something else I learned in the administration, right? You talk to free traders and they say, well, free trade's great. Yeah, it is, but we don't have free trade with China, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
What we need to insist on is a fair and level playing field. We should stop treating them differently. We wouldn't accept behavior from, say, France in the same way that we accept from China. And we need to think really hard about how do we stimulate productive, sustainable industry in the United States. Look at what happened with Intel. We took a ton of taxpayer money. We threw it in Intel. They're not using it very well, right? Their revenues are falling. The semiconductor market is down. So what did we do? We just gave money to a company whose CEO goes to China regularly to say, hey, China is a really important market for us. So he's trying to play both sides.
Well, I mean, all of this as the CCP outwardly mocks the U.S. I mean, in this whole incident of serving our U.S. Treasury Secretary psychedelic mushrooms, what's your take on that? I mean, Janet Yellen went on CNN and basically chuckled about it. She didn't know that it was, hallucinogenics until later. And then how did we find out about it? Then Beijing leaks the story that they fed her hallucinogenics?
Well, again, we need to treat China like we treat every other nation of the world. We would never accept that kind of treatment from Britain or South Africa or even Russia, right? So that just needs to be the rule, right? That we treat you just like we treat everybody else. But Maria, the national conversation gets really hung up on things like, TikTok and brainwashing kids and hallucinogenic mushrooms and the like. What we need to be talking about is the military that they're building that is aimed at us and our military readiness and what they say they're going to do with their military. That's the hard discussion that we need to have all the time. That's what really matters. 400 nukes, million-man army, largest Navy in the world, third largest Air Force in the world, biological chemical weapons program. That's what China is building. They have more ICBM launchers than we have. That's what matters. That's what we should be talking about, in my view.
Great point, Mary. Really good. That since they have a larger Navy than the United States right now. Mary, good to see you as always. Thanks so much.